Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10X, time to level up. Hey, you are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast, coming to you from the Big Dog Construction Studio in beautiful downtown Springfield. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. Well, hey, you are listening to the Wellness Upgrade on Elevate Springfield, where we're going to bring you specific strategies to help elevate your health and wellness. Hey, if you're not elevating your health and wellness, you're not going to be able to elevate in all other areas. This is the baseline. You know I'm passionate about it, and you know that's why I brought this segment to Elevate Springfield. We want to thank our friends over at Shudokan Karate Club here in Springfield. Sensei Dennis and his team, over 50 years in the Springfield area. Traditional karate, teaching self-discipline, confidence, community. Traditional, powerful, real. That's Shudokan Karate Club here in Springfield. Check them out. ShudokanKarateSpringfield.com. We're going to get right to our guest after the break.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Ki-ai!
All right, and we are back. Joining me in the studio, familiar face for y'all. He was on the show just a few weeks back, Mr. Kenny Hyde. How we doing today, sir?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you back. And
glad to be here.
Love the 10X mugs.
Representing. I got the black one. You got the red one.
Get it.
10X, bro.
No doubt about it. Well, this is the Wellness Upgrade, but before we get to that, Kenny, remind everybody what you do.
So I'm a health and wellness accountability coach. I help people integrate habits that last a long time. That's the goal, right? It needs to be gimmick free. The words cut, quit, restrict, limit, portion, count, can't, cheat, all help form an industry that has a 98% failure statistic. So I believe that language is important. And I kind of want to introduce more of the mental game this week. That's what I'm excited about, because I think in the marketplace, it's all driven towards your workouts, right? The external. And I wanted to take an opportunity today to talk more about the internal, metaphysical concepts.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's the topic of the day. You told me before, hey, you're saying health and wellness is 90% mental. So talk to us about that.
It might be a little bit, contrary, but I like to challenge people. I think that the reason I'm here to help people who are stuck, and I think we are always looking outside that motivation, and I think that's like relying on the weather. It's external. It's fleeting. So when you go inside and you make goals and you start thinking of how you can, most people are playing that dumb game, right? They're thinking of how they can. That's all it is. How expensive is the gym membership? How pricey is healthier food, right? And we just kind of trap ourselves and then we don't move. So yeah, I think 90% mental. We need to start with a goal. I think it needs to be clearly measured, just like you're helping me with my business, right? PPFs. So yeah, if it's your weight, that's the issue. I think using your memory, a lot of people use their memory to whip themselves. They go back on the time track and they say, oh man, I messed that up, or I'm no good at this. History shows that I fail at this every time. They've just fallen short more than they've created wins. And so it's kind of my job to get people back on that winning track, making progress every week. And then you find what happens is it alters our belief system, right? We start to believe in ourselves again. It's like, man, I'm 10 pounds down now.
Mhm.
You know? So just getting people on that track of making incremental progress. One of my mentors said, we need to draw out the pro of big goals and small goals. So every type of goal has a con, right? A big monster. You might not think that it's possible. The little bitty goals, it's like, it's just 2 pounds, right? It's not that big of a deal. One thing I always say is if you don't appreciate a pound, what makes you feel deserving of 30 of them?
Yeah.
Right. So
Love that.
yeah, I think it is more mental than we realize. And so for any of you that are struggling, I would encourage you to, it's not all about that number, but I think it does need to be measurable. It's not that number that's going to make you feel good. It's about what that number represents.
No doubt about it. I mean, with 90% mental, with anything health and wellness, you can be perfect for one day, but it's not going to do anything for you.
Right.
And where the mental part comes in is you got to be that way every day, every day, every day.
Exactly.
And implement all those things every day.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't have to be perfect, but implement all those things every single day, right?
Yeah. Let God be perfect.
Right. Exactly. None of us are perfect.
Right. And you could always, one thing that has helped a lot of my clients is, you can miss one day, but don't miss 2 in a row. And it goes back to even me as a coach working with you. It's like you've had to remind me, hey, Kenny, how many days does it take to form a habit? So it's a phenomenon. You see people who burn the torch, they burn it at both ends. Like they're going hardcore in the gym and then they're super sore. They're sore for a week. And then they're like, I'm not going to do that again. So it's these cycles. And that's where coaching, I think having that accountability is nice because we're here to show your blind spots, just like you do with me. So I encourage people. We always hear 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. Right. I just encourage you to leave more space for the mental side of things, your goals, your motivations, your belief in yourself, and think of how you can do it today. And I do think people get stuck they're looking at the negative side of the coin. It's like, I've got a meal prep this week, when if you think of the payoff, like when you do that meal prep, think of the payment, think of how next week's going to go, same thing with that workout. Think of how you're going to feel after that pain in the ass where you have to put your shoes on. Right. It's cold outside. It's in the morning. You got some brain fog. You're tired. You're sore. It's not letting pain rule you in some cases. Some people have some pain that I work with. You can find cardio that doesn't upset your ankle or your knee, right? It doesn't have to be running on a treadmill. It could be a rower, exercise bike, a hand bike, just something to get that blood pumping. Water is a good one. Swimming. So
no doubt about it.
So yeah.
So how do you get your clients to focus on the windshield instead of on the rear view, right? Because you said a lot of times what happens is they are, hey, I tried this workout routine, I tried this diet, I didn't lose jack, I didn't get in shape. How do you get them to focus on forward rather than the failure of the past?
I like that. Well, I've been told that sometimes if you can't do it for yourself, do it for someone else. I believe that belief just needs to be present. You don't have to believe it. And I think that's the value of coaching is sometimes I believe that you believe in me, and that's enough. So it's like a handshake. That's what I do. If I've got a client who's struggling, I'm like, all right, let's not try. I believe try is like failure with honor. I think it's a bad word.
I do too. I try to never say it.
Yeah, try. I try not to.
Try to never say it. Yeah.
So, doing that, like, hey, if I want you to either do this or not, right? I suggest you do because you'll be better off. And so the average client probably has around 2 pound target for the week. And that's like taking the pro out of that small goal. That makes it feel doable. And I don't think I've ever heard a no to this question. You got a whole week to do this. Does 2 pounds really sound unreasonable?
Right.
And almost every single time it's like, yes, it does. It sounds reasonable. And so I'm like, stick my hand out. Shake my hand. I'm counting on you this week, so you can kind of use that.
Yeah. And it almost obligates them to that. At
exactly.
that point, they're like, I have to do it.
Right.
I got to do it.
Right. Now. No different than, and it's all about keeping it top of mind because you've got your kids, you got your boss, you got your job, you got your partner, all these layers of life that just simply takes our eye off the ball. And now we're in the back seat.
No doubt about it. Yeah, the word try, I try to always say that I will rather than I will try, right? Because when you say I will or I won't, either one, you're obligating yourself to it rather than just, I'll try, because that's just kind of you have your way out. You can say, didn't work out, didn't do it, whatever. Right. But if you say I will, you're obligating yourself to the result.
Trying is like it's like a broken tool. It'd be like cleaning up coffee grounds off of your floor with a broken shovel.
Right.
It's a tool that doesn't work. It's broken.
Exactly. So make that mindset shift from try to
I'm going to do it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It sounds cliche, but I found that the gold is in those trivial things that we think are cliche.
Well, and when it's 90% mental, those small mental shifts that you have make a huge difference.
Yep. Right? Also mental reframing, like will is a mental faculty. It's metaphysical. Same thing with perception. I think in coaching, nothing is more valuable than helping somebody shift the way they're looking at something. Right. You helped me with that tremendously, you and Chris.
Appreciate that.
So
happy to do it.
Oh my gosh. Just going in there, having this big problem in my mind, and you guys it's like a mental chiropractic appointment,
I like that.
So that is what I do too with clients, is get them to, hey, maybe we can change the way we look at this. We're thinking of it because it's always been this big monster in their mind. Maybe they've battled with their weight their whole life. And I acknowledge that. It's a big deal. But once you get people on that winning track and they can stack 3 weeks of 2 pounds, you see, you can tell there's some beliefs, some limiting beliefs that have been shattered. And then it leaves room to crystallize new ones. So
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
How do you celebrate those incremental wins with your clients? Those 2-pounders.
One of my friends called me the king of compliments. So I do give credit where it's due. And, you got to be careful with that sometimes in coaching, because there is a phenomenon that happens where we hit that finish line, and I don't think there is a finish line. It's always what's next, right. And so that's a sticky one, but you got to put wind in people's sails, I think. And so it's always rah rah, atta girl, atta boy, and it's like, let's keep this up. And before you know it, they pull momentum. Then there's shape shifting that can happen where we do good with one concept one week and then others fall off. So it's all about consistency and really leaning into your coaching. Like if there's a problem in the middle of the week, it might not seem relevant, but the car breaks down. That's gonna lower your attitude,
right?
Your vibe, and that's gonna hurt your performance. So again, it's about using that scale every day. I'm big on that. There's a difference between using the scale and stepping on the scale. You want to use that data. Did it go up today? And why? And what am I going to do about it? Right? So it's all about that self-control.
I like that.
There's a book I read. It's called Outliers. And it talked about how, I think it was back in the 80s when the self-esteem movement came in. And the theory was, if you just help somebody self-esteem, you're going to improve their mental health, right? And their quality of life. Well, as we look back on that experiment, that doesn't really hold true. There's a lot of nasty people who have really high level of self-esteem. So they then, in the book, they start shifting into Asian culture. And why is the average Asian American more well off than the average American? And it's because in their culture, it's more rooted in self-control. So self-control is the real, I think, gauge on success. How is your ability to control self rather than just feeling good all the time? Because if you're just operating off of your emotions, that's like a ship without a rudder. Sometimes our emotions lie to us, especially with like our food environment. Just doing what feels good isn't always a recipe for success.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Sometimes I think if we add a little bit to that sentence, doing what makes you feel good about being you. If you can do that to kind of find yourself again, sometimes that's doing the hard thing first.
It's another mental shift for you.
Right.
Using words to shift that mindset. And
I feel like I'm preaching a lot here.
No, I love it. It's great. I mean, mindset is huge on anything you're going to do. And health and wellness, it is massively important. So let's give the audience one final piece of advice to, quote unquote, get their mindset right.
Get their mindset right.
Their health and wellness.
I would say don't waste another second of your day thinking of how you can't. Only think of how you can. And just make that a practice, make that a daily practice, and remember that, I would say, is critical for success. How can I, not how can't I, or what the problem is. So that's what I would say to that.
Well, Kenny, if there's somebody out there that wants some help with all this stuff and they want to work with you, where do they go?
You go to Kenny Hyde on Facebook. You can go to Instagram. It's Kenny Hyde Coaching. And I'll throw my phone number out, 217-883-8837. Send me a text and we'll schedule a consultation for free.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, appreciate it as always.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Give Kenny a shout. We're going to
Awesome.
let him get back to elevating Springfield, but for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at sangamontreeservice.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hope you're enjoying these quick hits of actionable strategies here on the Wellness Upgrade on Elevate Springfield. Thank you again to Shudokan Karate Club. Hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst, American Family Insurance Agent, is here to help you protect what matters most: your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343